pre-orders. And buying games early seems like a dangerous endeavor in 2023. So many games have been arriving broken, so many games have gotten the public apology from the developers that it seems like even with a game like Marvel's Spider-Man 2, a lot of people seem to be nervous to get that pre-order early. In fact, in my community right here, I went to my community tab and I posted an actual question where you could vote on whether or not you're getting the game, and if you are pre-ordering it, which edition are you going to get? Standard, Digital Deluxe, the Collector's Edition, or not pre-ordering at all? And after over 100,000 votes, 49%, so about half the people just said, I'm not pre-ordering at all. Now, do I think that that's the right decision? For me personally, I think that that was the right decision until we started to get some of these exclusive physical items that you could get by getting the game. Yes, for those of you that don't know, stores have begun to reveal some of the additional items that you might get if you pre-order with them, which we're going to talk about in just one moment. But before we get to those physical things, I do want to also mention that I think that it is a very valid concern for gamers nowadays to be cautious about actually wanting to buy games early because we've been burned so many times. But I would also argue that a company like Insomniac has gained so much good grace with the gaming audience that I would be absolutely shocked if they shipped a broken game or a game that is substantially broken. Obviously, every game nowadays is going to have some bugs and some problems, but as long as it's not something that is game breaking, obviously, I think that that is fair. So next, let's talk about the new pre-order bonuses and why I think they matter in terms of making your decisions. Now, for those that don't know, we already have known for quite a while about the older digital pre-order bonuses, and that is the early access to the Arachnite suit and the Shadow Spider suit and the 3 different recolors for each of them, which is obviously really cool. They're absolutely beautiful suits, and again, you can still unlock them in the game without pre-ordering the game. You'll just basically have them from the get-go if you'd like to use those by pre-ordering. In addition to that, you'll also have early access to the Web Grabber gadget, and of course, the 3 additional skill points. Once again, none of this that I just mentioned here is exclusive to the pre-orders, meaning that if you don't pre-order the game, it's not like you will not have a way to buy or have access to the Arachnite suit in the core game. You'll just need to play the game, get the required unlocks that will be necessary, and you'll have access to these suits. But now we're starting to get some physical items that will be bonuses for pre-ordering from stores. So of course, I made a video breaking down all of the specifics around this, but the exciting thing is that there are some things here that I do think could have some value. So for example, we have the little Spider-Bot keychain. We have the sticker pack, which contains 6 different stickers, including a look at the brand new Venom logo, which is super sick looking. We have these patches, which look wonderful as well. And we even have stores like this one from Malaysia who have gone ahead and revealed that they will be offering kind of an interesting combo wombo, whereby buying the game, you'll be able to then get an additional physical bonus by choosing one of these. And the interesting thing with this particular listing from Malaysia's Heavy Arm is the fact that we see that there is actually a Miles Morales themed hat or beanie, which I think is super cool too. Now, I know when I'm saying all this, a lot of you guys are probably going like, really, stickers, a keychain? Why are you even bringing this up? You're really trying to convince me to pre-order the game? Are you being paid by Insomniac? No, I'm not. I'm just saying that from a collector's standpoint, as someone who has collected video games for quite a while, I'm telling you guys, a lot of times these little tchotchkes, if you don't even care about them, will go up in price. So for example, if this keychain is very limited or hard to find, I could see it being worth 10, 15, maybe even more than that dollars for each keychain, which means that even if you don't care about the keychain, by pre-ordering the game, you get something that will offset your cost of the game. You'll be able to actually sell it off to someone who does want it and probably recoup some of your costs. And the same thing goes obviously with the stickers or the patches. So I think that, again, one of the things you definitely need to do is reach out to your local retailers and verify with them what sort of pre-order bonuses are they going to be offering, if any. The other thing that's interesting is that we have found out that the packaging for the early edition to the game will actually have a bit of an interesting stylization element that will probably not be present years from now. And what am I talking about? So if you look at the packaging for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, you'll notice one big distinction between it and the fact that now for the launch of the game, there's actually going to be a tab across the top that says Launch Edition, which I assume will probably include the codes for the Arachnide suit and the Shadow Spider suit. So once again, I'm just saying, for the physical video game collectors out there who care about those sorts of little things, I think that this is going to be something that might give this version of the game a little bit more value in the future, meaning that, let's say 5-10 years from now, when we're talking about getting this game, I think that the launch edition will probably be the one that will be the most desirable. Now, speaking of launch editions or editions in general, obviously, let's arrive to the point in this video where we talk about the editions that are currently available for purchase and what do they exactly mean, how do they exactly differ. So let's dive into the first one that I thought would be the most popular to pre-order. However, going back to my community tab, it seems like most of you guys have actually been pre-ordering the digital deluxe version, which we'll get to in just one moment, and I think I know why you guys have been buying that one. But the standard edition will be just the game. It will retail, at least in the US market, for $69.99, along with some of the other currencies being listed on your screen right now. And again, this is going to be the most bare bones version of the game. This is just the pure game experience, no additional any tchotchkes or anything like that, beyond whatever you might get as a pre-order bonus from your retailer, as well as, of course, the previously mentioned digital bonuses of the 2 suits. Next, let's dive into the Digital Deluxe Edition, which is the most popular version of the game to pre-order, at least in this community. Now, the interesting thing, obviously, about the Digital Deluxe Edition, as its title says, is that it is only available digitally, which means that you cannot buy this version physically. However, there is good news, because the things that this edition includes will be accessible to the standard edition purchasers, which we'll get to in just one moment. First, let's cover what's in this particular package. So for an additional $10, so it's $79.99 in the US, you will get the game. But in addition to that, you're going to get additional photo mode frames and stickers, as well as 2 additional skill points early. So obviously, it's a nice way to kind of like boost your power level pretty early on. The most exciting element is, of course, the 10 unique suits. Now, unlike the pre-order suits, these are exclusive to this version, which means the only way that you can get access to these 10 costumes, 5 of which are for Peter, 5 of which are for Miles, is by buying this additional digital deluxe version. Now, the good news, as I mentioned before, if you bought the standard version, if you're like me and you prefer to have a physical copy of your games, you still can just pay the extra $10 or whatever the price difference is between the digital deluxe and the standard version in your country is. Basically, you'll pay that on the digital storefront, so on the PlayStation Store, and you'll still get all this additional stuff. So don't worry, even if you want to buy a physical copy, you can still have access to these 10 suits. And then last but certainly not least, we have the collector's edition. So this is the one that if you really are excited about the game and you have a lot of disposable income, this is definitely the one that you're going for. It was a bit of a mess trying to secure this particular collector's edition on the pre-order date, but the interesting thing is that even as the time of this recording, which is the first week of July, this is still available on the PlayStation Direct. So if you're in one of the countries where PlayStation Direct is supported, you can probably still get a pre-order for this collector's edition, which is kind of shocking considering how much of a mess it was at launch. But what is it going to cost you? It's going to be $229 in the US. And what are you going to get? Well, first, you're going to get the digital deluxe edition of the game, which is kind of a bummer for somebody like me who did get a collector's edition pre-order, because it means I will not have a physical code for this game, which I think is absolutely a travesty, because I think if somebody's spending $200+ on a collector's edition, they want the physical disc of the game. And it's kind of an odd decision that Sony has been making as of late. They did this for their Horizon collector's edition, and they're doing it with Spider-Man as well, where you're not going to get a disc included in the collector's edition. You're just going to get a code for the digital deluxe version of the game. The thing that makes this even more bizarre is the fact that it does include a steelbook case, and so it kind of makes you think, like, why the heck would you want a steelbook without a disc to put into the steelbook, or not include a disc in the steelbook? It's just kind of a very odd decision, all things considered. But the thing that most people are excited to get this thing for is, of course, the 19-inch statue featuring both the Spider-Mans battling Venom. And that's really going to be the thing that will either sell or not sell you on the collector's edition. And so then we arrive at the ultimate conclusion. So which version of the game are you pre-ordering? Please let me know down in the comments section below. And while you're doing that, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. Thank you so very much for your support. For me personally, I pre-ordered the collector's edition, but I am still bummed about the fact that there is no physical disc included in this particular version. I really wish that they would have included that. That's kind of one of my big criticisms with it. I also will say that if you're asking me personally, should you pre-order Marvel Spider-Man 2? I personally would say it depends. Check with your local retailer to see if they are offering any of these physical pre-order bonuses, because if they are, I definitely would consider pre-ordering, just because, like I said, even if you don't care about what you're getting, like whether it be the patches or the sticker or a hat or whatever it might be that your stores might offer as a bonus, I would consider still getting it, because you could literally turn around and sell that to a collector that does want it, but maybe doesn't end up getting a pre-order in, and then will be willing to pay you 10, 20, 30 bucks for that collector's item. We've seen that happen over and over and over again with different versions of pre-order items. It happens all the time, especially with Nintendo games. They have a lot of pre-order bonuses that end up costing more than the actual game. So I would definitely recommend to at least look into whether or not your store will be offering any sort of physical goods along as a pre-order bonus. But beyond that, it's your money and your decision. If you don't feel comfortable pre-ordering, it is your right, and you are absolutely correct, especially with how many of video games have been arriving broken nowadays. I absolutely get it, and I understand why you would go with that decision. But let me know down in the comment section below what you're going to be doing when Marvel Spider-Man 2 is launching. Are you just going to buy a copy when the game releases, after it releases to wait for some reviews? Let me know in the comment section below.